Hi guys, welcome back. This is a video on what to expect when you get married. So, I don't know if you know, I am married. I've been married for almost 3 years this year, and me and my husband will be together for 5 years. We are happily married. Okay, so we are happily married. 3 years. We have been together for 5. Did we know about each other previously? No. Were we friends before we got married? Of course. We were good friends. We never argued. I thought it was a reason that we had a problem. I was like, who doesn't argue? Why we don't argue? And he was like, do you want to argue? Do I want to argue? No, I don't argue. But I was just so consistent with, or I was just in relationships where we always argue. Everything was an argument, and I'm like, why we don't argue? Why does everything just work out so smoothly? Why does I feel like this is my soulmate? Really the person for me? You know, like, do we really get along this well that we don't have anything to argue about? Like, it was going like, it was like a flow. Like, I do feel like you should be friends before you get married. I also feel like you shouldn't move in until you are married, because like, it's kind of like, why buy the cow if you could get the milk for free when you move in together? Not even just move in together, y'all could just be in a cordial relationship and you go over his house and you cook and you clean and stuff like that, and you're doing wifely things and you don't have that title. So it's like, why would he marry you, or why would he put a ring on your finger if you're not, you know, his wife? She can do this all the time. I can get her to do this all the time because she does it without me asking. Why do I need to put a ring on it? And so those are the things that kind of like a drawback on when you need to reflect on yourself. Like, do I want this as a husband? Do I want somebody who take advantage of me, who feels like I can give all my all to him and he doesn't give it in return? Or am I not wifey material to him that he can't put a ring on it? And you shouldn't have to force anybody to put a ring on it, because, you know, there's something wrong about talking about marriage and what you expect out of him, or what he expects out of you. And y'all can start to act that way until you get married, but not do wife things, husband things, you know what I mean? And please seek premarital counseling before you get married, because that probably is not the person for you. Talk to God about it. Like, seek God, ask God, you know, this is what I want in a man. And this is exactly what I did. When I got out of my previous relationship, I was still talking to him. But when I got out of that relationship, I actually wrote down what I wanted in a man. Like, how I wanted him to look, how I wanted him to act, you know, how I wanted him to treat me, because I knew my expectations, I knew my standards, and that's what I wanted, because I was setting the bar here. You're like, I don't need to set my bar here. I don't need to bring my bar down for you to come up to my, for me to be on your level. I feel like if I'm here, you should try to get up here. And they're not perfect. None of them are. But you need to not lower your standards and have somebody mistreat you or talk to you any kind of way. Going back to dating and not giving your all to him, you know, like, for instance, me. In my previous relationship, we did live together, and I was doing that. And it didn't get me nowhere. So that's what it is. It's like, sometimes it does work. Some people do move in together and it works out perfectly. But if you've been down that road, or even if you didn't been down that road, you know what it is. If you've been in relationships and you know it didn't work out and you was giving your all, stop, change it, do something different, something that is against everything that you've been doing. If something is not working for you, that's not even just a relationship, with work, with friends. If you're doing the same thing over and over and getting the same results, you need to readjust yourself and your life. And you're like, what am I doing wrong? Or am I attracting the wrong people? Again, going back to guys, if you keep following or keep sleeping with or keep getting these relationships where they're taking advantage of you or they're mistreating you and not having respect for you, then you have to look in the mirror. You're like, am I allowing this to happen? Or do I look like I got stupid written across my face? And if that's the reason, then you need to readjust yourself. Relationships, every year you have a different relationship or a different guy you're talking to, slow down. Stop the brakes. Find out what is going on. Like, you don't need to be in a relationship. And a lot of people will say it goes back to you missing the father, you're not being loved. I mean, it does stem back from your childhood. Don't get me wrong. It probably does have something to do with you not having a father figure in your life. But some mom or just a mother or whatever, not to guide, no guidance for a mom, but you can go to church and you can find out, get a mentor, you know, people who are married, you can look up to and ask them questions, you know, not even just if you're not looking for marriage, if you just want to seek better, you know, be better with yourself. Okay, now going into what to expect when you get married. So like I said, I did not move in with my husband until we got married. And it went from us not arguing to us arguing every day. Not every day, but it was like me nitpicking because I wasn't so used to him doing that. And it's because I didn't live with him, you know, like everything changes. I mean, I've seen how he was, because don't get me wrong, I did spend a night over his house sometimes, or, you know, we did see each other a lot when we were dating, a lot, you know, so I was like, I knew what to expect. I knew that he liked to make up his bed every morning. I didn't have time to do that every morning. Like, I have a kid, I have to get dressed, we have to go to school, you know, like, neat freak, and he's not. I call him, he used to have ant piles in his room. To this day, he still does. It's like little piles of clothes in corners of the room. It's like, why would you just pick it up and put it in the closet? Or he never cooked and I cooked, you know, like, I didn't expect him to cook because he didn't do that before we got married. So those expectations that you have for somebody, if they're not showing those things to you before you get married, then you're probably shouldn't have to change him when you get married. You know what I mean? Or you shouldn't expect him to change his ways because you're not married, you know? And some people say that just because you are married, you just have a title, everything is the same. No, it's not. This is totally not the same. Don't believe that. Everything changes. Even if you're married, I mean, if you're in a relationship and you live together and then you're like, oh, well, all of a sudden we get married and nothing changed. No, it's gonna change. You're gonna have kids, and if you do have kids before, things change, you know, like trust issues. If you have trust issues before you get married, you're probably gonna have those same trust issues when you get married. That might stay the same. Spending every day with them, you wake up with them, you go to sleep with them. I have never but one time slept without my husband at night. He has been there every night. We wake up together every morning, you know, like those type of things. Like, he kissed me before he goes to work. Those type of things that you don't realize until you actually marry. You know, you're like, does this person really love me for who I am? And you don't know that when you're dating, if you're dating for a short amount of time. So that's why you need to be friends first and then get married. So I do, and it's a very, very bizarre story. So she was with this guy, her husband now, for 2 weeks, and she got married. Does that work for everybody? No. Do you know, like, have you heard those stories before? Yes, you have, and sometimes they don't work, but sometimes they do. You know, like, I don't know how close they were, but she did say they had a lot of arguments, and they almost got divorced a couple of times because they didn't really know each other. They were still getting to know each other. You don't know nobody after 2 weeks. Like, my husband told me he left me after 2 weeks. Did I feel the same for him? No. He told me, I love you. And then I was like, thank you. I don't think that's the response that you're supposed to tell somebody. It showed me that he cared for me. He liked me more than I like him. And that's how it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be like, you're always supposed to out-like that person or out-love that person. Like, I can love you more than you love me. And that's how it's supposed to be in a marriage. And he showed me that early on, and I was like, you know what? This is the guy for me. Like, he loves me after 2 weeks. Like, saying that. We talk to each other 24/7. When we're at work, we're texting each other. As soon as we get off, we're calling each other. We're around each other all the time. And you do feel that bubbly butterfly thing. You know, you're like, I don't want to spend a day without this person. This person is made for me. This is my soulmate. My husband is my best friend. He's my rock. He's the person I go to and call on any situation. If I feel some way about him, I'm going to go to him before I go to anybody else. And you shouldn't go to anybody else in a marriage. Your husband, your spouse should be your best friend. Some people, you might have friends for years. Like, that could be your best friend, but he should be first because y'all are a partnership. Y'all are one. Okay, as far as like the roles of marriage, as a wife, you need to do wifey things. However, I still feel like it's 50-50. If I don't want to cook today, you can cook. However, my husband doesn't know how to cook. So if I don't want to cook, I shouldn't have to cook. And I shouldn't feel a certain way if I don't want to cook. He can go pick up some pizza or whatever. And that's how I feel like we're 50-50. If he sees that I'm tired, he's not going to pressure me to do something I don't want to do. If that goes that way. So, or if I need help with the kids, you know, he'll be like, can I help you? Or, you know, if I need help with around the house, don't feel obligated you have to do everything. Ask for help. He's your spouse. He's your partner. He should help you. He should want to help you. If not, talk about it. It shouldn't be an argument that y'all should linger on for days and nothing gets done, because it's going to always be that way. You don't want it to always be that way. Also, don't bring baggage into your marriage, because things that happen in your previous relationships should be taken care of before you get into a marriage, because it's going to corrupt your marriage. Leave it behind. That's the past. Even if you're with the same person, he took you through hell, you should forgive him and forget it, because it's gonna bring nothing but turmoil to your marriage. Like I said, seek God. There's a lot of good books on marriage, Christian marriages and stuff like that you can look into. Also, don't go to sleep mad. I'm that person that I used to the old terror back in the day. I used to hold grudges, you know, like, you do something to me, I don't have to talk to you for a couple days, and then when I'm ready, I'll call you. And when you get married, it doesn't work that way. You're like, I have to kiss you, I have to sleep in the bed with you. Like, no, you shouldn't have to go sleep on the couch or he sleep at the foot of the bed. No, y'all are together. Y'all gonna make this work. In our household, there is no divorce. Like, we're gonna make this work. We're gonna figure it out. That should be everybody's motto in a marriage. Like, no matter what happens, we're gonna make it work. It might be some days he drive you crazy, or he's like annoying as hell. Have you ever been there with somebody that just annoys the hell out of you? The way they chew. Why are you chewing like that? Why are you walking like that? Like, that's not your spouse. If everything annoys you before y'all get married, no. With that person all the time, they're gonna annoy you, but not to the point that you're like, oh no, this is a deal breaker. I cannot be with somebody that does this. Like, or say for instance, like me and my husband. He's an animal lover. My daughter is the same way. Animal lover. I don't hate them, don't get me wrong. I'm allergic to them. So when they're around me, I'm like, ugh. And he wants an animal and I can't do it, so we have to compromise. So the compromisation was, we get a baby. It's like an animal. You have to feed them, walk them, poop, they poop. You know, like, you have to do all this. It's times 10. So no, I don't want to take care of an animal that can't tell me when they're hungry and when they need to be changed or all of that. And eventually kids grow up and they move out the house and the animal's still there, just old. Clean up after themselves. Babies at least could clean up after themselves when they get in a certain age. Hell, they can start cooking at 5. We had to seek premarital counseling before we had got married, and so much information was given. I found out a lot about my husband that I didn't even know, and we were dating for like a year and a half. So premarital counseling is, I say, #1. They have free premarital counseling out there, so seek that. If not, pay for it. You know, it goes a long way. It tells you a lot about yourself. Also, do the 5 love languages. I spoke about this at my Brunching with Wives 5 love language book. I forgot who it's by. Tony Chapman, I think it is. Really, really good book. It lets you know how your spouse is and your spouse how you are. You find out your love language, that's gonna help in the long run with your communication, because my love language is different from his. If we have the same love, it's great. You know what to do. Like, my love language is your spouse's love language. It really helps you. It helped me. It saved my marriage. No, I'm saying. Okay. So my love language is receiving gifts and physical touch. Because he could be over there and I'll go sit next to him and he has to be touching me. Like, we have to be next to each other even when we're asleep. His is words of affirmation. So he likes to be told, oh, you look good, you know, or, oh, I like that outfit you have on, or how was your day, you know, that type of stuff. And I could care less if you ask me how my day is. But hey, if you come in with some food, that's a gift. Ain't it a gift? Comes in with a card. It could be something so small. Like, I thought about you today when I was out, and so I picked up your favorite candy bar. You know, like that type of stuff. That melts my heart. You know, it's like you're still trying to keep me on my toes or keep me looking at you like, boy, you knew what I wanted. I'm gonna give you what you appreciate. I appreciate that, the small things that works, or just me cooking for him, you know, like that type of stuff. and you know, letting him know, babe, do you want this? You know, that type of stuff. It helps him, and it makes him, and it makes our relationship and our bond stronger, and it can't be broken by no one. And you should have that type of attitude when you're in a marriage. And like I said, anybody can get married, but it takes a strong bond, a strong relationship for you to keep going every year and keep thriving. Also, don't put nobody in your business. Nobody should be in your business. Nobody should know about what's going on between you and your spouse unless you can trust them wholeheartedly, meaning they don't have not 1 ounce of jealousy, no ounce of trustworthiness, nothing. You know, like, have to question or doubt that person. If you do, those are not the people that you need to be talking about with your marriage. If it's something that you feel like you and your husband are at odds with and will not get resolved, then you pray about that. And if you have to seek somebody else that's been through the same relationship, the same issues, then you tell them, you know, and you feel like, hey, I can go to my sisters about it and be like, hey, how did this work out? How did you get over this? And they tell me, not to come back and be like, girl, she told me they wasn't working out, or, you know, like, ooh, did you see how she looked at him? Or, no, don't tell nobody about your marriage. Anything that happens in your marriage should stay between you and your spouse. Also, don't talk to nobody about your finances. Somebody asks you, how much is your car? I'm married now. If I wasn't married, girl, I'll pay $600 a month. That's ridiculous. That's crazy. It is. But now, if you're married, you're like, how much is your car? Oh, girl, I can't even tell you that. That ain't none of your business. That ain't none of your goddamn. You can just look it up. I got it. It's this year, you know, or whatever. Like, ain't none. I'm not supposed to tell you my physical number. Or how much is your house? How much is your mama house? You can't be like, okay, how much you get those shoes for? You don't ask the dollar amount. Like, don't ask the dollar amount. Just ask where I got it from. What neighborhood you live in? I can tell you the neighborhood I live in. You want to go live over there? Go ahead. But don't ask the physical number. Don't talk about it, because they'll start calculating your coins, and don't count my coins. I don't need you to count my coins. I hope you enjoyed this video. I was trying to do something different, and I think this will help a lot of people who are new to marriage, who are thinking about getting married. I wish I had somebody out there that can tell me what to expect when you're getting married, or, you know, things that might irk the hell out of you.